All right, guys, this is the second part of 8.4, so this is part 2. And when we left off, I went over the formulas for surface area and volume. So let's read this question and figure out which one we need to use. So the Camden College Athletics Hall of Fame building features a statue of a large volleyball that is in need of painting. The volleyball has a diameter of 8.5 feet. Part A, determine the surface area of the volleyball. So let's do that first. So if it's a volleyball, basically we're talking about a sphere. Okay, and to find the surface area of a sphere, it's 4 pi r squared. Okay, they give us the diameter. They said the diameter is 8.5 feet. To find the radius, I need half of the diameter. So radius equals 1/2 times 8.5. So basically we're breaking 8.5 in half to get 4.25. Okay, so now that I have the radius, let's go ahead and find the surface area. Surface area equals 4 times pi times the radius, which is 4.25 squared. This is definitely going to require you to put this in your calculator. So what I would do first is I'd open the calculator, do 4.25 squared first. And then you're going to multiply that by 4 pi. And when you do that, you're going to find that the surface area equals 226.98, and it's in feet squared. Okay, so that's the surface area of that volleyball. All right, so part B says, hey, if 1 quart of paint covers about 100 feet squared, how many quarts of paint will the college need to buy to paint the volleyball? So we take the surface area, which is 226.98. I'm going to divide that by 100. Okay, so when I divide these, 226.98 divided by 100, I'm going to get 2.2698. Okay, and that makes sense because 100 is basically taking the decimal 2 places to the left. All right, the feet cancel out too, by the way. So if we're talking about quarts of paint, you're not going to get 2.26 if you go to the store. So I'm going to round that up to 3. So they need 3 quarts of paint. You definitely don't want to round down to 2 because you're not going to have enough paint to paint that volleyball statue. Okay, let's look at the next example. Gordon has 3 silos on his farm. The silos are each in the shape of a right cylindrical cylinder. One silo has 12 feet diameter and is 40 feet tall. The second silo has a 14 feet diameter and 50 feet tall. The third silo has an 18-foot diameter and is 60 feet tall. Part A, what is the total capacity of all 3 silos in cubic feet? So when they're talking about total capacity, remember we're looking for volume. So what is the volume? Okay, so if we look at the volume of a cylinder, it equals pi r squared times the height. Okay, so if I look at each one of these silos, none of them have the radius, they have the diameters. So remember, if 12 is the diameter, the radius has to be 6 because it's half the diameter. So r equals 6. 14, half of 14 is 7, so r equals 7 for the second one. And then for the third one, r equals 9. Okay, so let's go ahead and work these out. So I'm going to use the formulas. So I'm going to do small, medium, and large silos. Okay. So for the small silo, remember we're using volume equals pi r squared h. So the volume equals pi times the radius. The radius for that one was 6, and the height is 40. So I get pi times 6 squared times 40. So I know 6 squared is 36, so I'm going to take 36 times 40 times pi. So I'm going to stick that in my calculator, 36 times 40 times pi. And when I do that, I get 4,523.89. And remember, we're in feet cubed, or cubic feet. Okay, so that's the first one. The medium, same formula, pi r squared h for volume. So pi times the radius was bigger, it was 7 squared, and then times the height, which was 50. And so volume equals 49 times 50 times pi. So once again, put that in your calculator. And when I do that, I get the volume equals 7,696.90 feet cubed. Okay, so let's look at the large one. Same formula, pi r squared times h. So pi times the radius for this one is 9. So 9 squared times the height, which is 60. So volume equals 81 times 60 times pi. So once again, put it in your calculator. And when I do that, I get the volume equals 15,268.14 feet cubed. Okay, so this is part A. So let me go ahead and just highlight what I've done here. And now let's look at part B. So I don't know what part B is, so we're going to have to go back and read it. So part B says, if Gordon fills all 3 of his silos and then feeds his cattle 100 feet cube of silage per day, in how many days will all 3 silos be empty? Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add all the volumes together from part A. And that'll tell us how much, grain he has. And then what we're going to do, once we have that, is we're going to divide it by 150 feet cubed, because that's how much his cattle eats. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to add 4,523.89 plus 7,696.90 plus 15,268.14. So let's add these 3. So go ahead and do that on your calculator.